Our next speaker is a very brave person for coming out and sharing her story with us. This is for Lorena Hansen, who will be coming. Oftentimes we don't see the effects of the actual poison that is being put into our food supply and from a long time ago in a chain reaction. I don't want to explain it too much. It's time for Lorena to share the story. Please listen very closely. Give her a round of applause.
Everybody, how are you? All right, we're awake out there. Great. My name, right in there. Okay. How's this? Yes. Okay. I haven't done this since 1986. My name is Lorena Hansen. I am the daughter of a deceased Vietnam veteran, Lieutenant Colonel John M. Apgar. He served in country in Vietnam from 1965 to 1970. My father was exposed in multiple ways to Agent Orange during his tours in Vietnam. For example, it was in the water he bathed with, in the tea, the coffee, and the Kool-Aid he drank, in the laundry water his clothes were washed in, and in the helicopters he flew, the vehicles he used, and the boats he was ferried on. I want to give you a brief picture of my father. He left New Jersey a strong, healthy young husband and returned with a major back injury, requiring surgeries among other injuries and illnesses he sustained while serving. Many of you have probably heard of something called jungle rot. He had that until the day he died, but in comparison to everything he suffered from, jungle rot was very, very, very minor. He told me many times that he had a ticking time bomb waiting to go off in him. And he told me this a long time ago, that he had been sickened and altered by Agent Orange. The remainder of his life he had crushing back pain and nerve pain, and thereby making him a young, old man. My dad served as an assault helicopter pilot with the U.S. Army's 170th Assault Helicopter Company. The U.S. government did not recognize these brave men until 2001. That's a long time to wait to be recognized. It was not until a few years after his death that I found out he served with the Special Ops, flying secret missions. On his days off, he would voluntarily fly missions where he would collect the dead and the wounded soldiers. He did this on his own accord. Like many combat vets, he did not like to speak of his experiences, and like most veterans of the Vietnam War, he did not brag or bring the spotlight upon himself. I want to switch gears here now and talk about Agent Orange. What is Agent Orange? Different mixtures of herbicides were used to create Agent Orange, but the most common were equal mixtures of two phenoxy herbicides, 2,4-D and 2,4,5-T. Each mixture was shipped in a chemical drum marked with an orange-colored stripe to identify it. Because of this orange stripe, it was called Agent Orange. The 2,4,5-T in Agent Orange was contaminated with small amounts of dioxins that were created unintentionally during the manufacturing process. The main dioxin found in Agent Orange was 2,3,7-tetrachlorosid benzo-P dioxin, or TCDD, and that is one of the most toxic. I'm going to quote you something from Monsanto themselves. This is from their website, and these are Monsanto's words, not my words. From 1965 to 1969, a former Monsanto company manufactured Agent Orange for the U.S. military as a wartime government contractor. The current Monsanto company has maintained responsibility for this product since they were spun off as a separate, independent agricultural company in 2002. And I find it kind of trippy that we're going from chemical warfare to be an agricultural company. That's just really, really bizarre in my head. And this information, as I said, comes from www.monsanto.com. This is their info. And between the years of 1962 to 1971, in an effort known as Operation Ranch Hand, U.S. forces sprayed millions of gallons of herbicides on lands in Vietnam, Laos, and other nearby areas to remove forest cover, destroy crops, and to clear vegetation from the perimeters of U.S. military bases. I'm going to quote you a brief portion of a letter my dad wrote home in 1969 about the effects that he saw Agent Orange doing. He said, quote, "The trees and other foliage were sprayed, and 3 days later, it was as if an early autumn had set in. The leaves began to turn colors, and then they dropped off. I do not see how this can be safe to spray or work in it if it is killing plant life and causing trees to shed their leaves." These were my father's words written to my mother in 1969. How were soldiers exposed? Well, this is really interesting when I found out about that. You've heard of the Operation Ranch Hand and the spraying that they did, and they used helicopters and airplanes to spray the Agent Orange. However, some herbicides were sprayed from boats or trucks. Some were applied by soldiers with backpack sprayers. Those who loaded and operated airplanes and helicopters have been exposed the most. Members of the Army Chemical Corps who stored and mixed herbicides and defoliated the perimeters of military bases, both abroad and here in the United States, also had some of the heaviest exposures. Others with potentially heavy exposures included members of Special Forces units who defoliated remote campsites and members of Navy river units who cleared base perimeters. Exposure usually occurs when the chemical is breathed in, ingested in contaminated food or drink, or absorbed through the skin, as what happened with my father. Now this is really interesting. Empty barrels that once contained Agent Orange were frequently rinsed out and then used as barbecue grills. They were going to do a great time for the soldiers over there and have a barbecue, and so they used that to cook the meat in. They poisoned their food right there. These containers were also used to dispense drinks to the soldiers and as water tanks for showers. Okay, so why is this harmful, and why should I be concerned about it now in 2013? Because I'm speaking of the 1960s and 1970s. Well, folks, it affects us now in 2013 just as much as it did in the 1960s and 70s. A study in 1970 found that 2,4,5-T could cause birth defects in lab animals. Roundup, made by Monsanto, uses half of the chemical cocktail Agent Orange is used, 2,4-D. This is why you should be concerned in 2013. What did these chemicals do to the soldiers? During the 1970s, some veterans returning from the Vietnam War began to report skin rashes, cancer, psychological symptoms, birth defects in their children, and many other health problems. Later in life, exposed veterans have reported prostate cancer, bone cancer, kidney disease, continuing skin diseases, diabetes, ischemic heart disease, Hodgkin's lymphoma, and many, many other illnesses. And this is where it gets personal to me, and forgive me if I choke up. In 2008, Agent Orange killed my father. Monsanto killed my father. Without the Lord, I could not have been able to make it through my father's illness and death. It was not an easy death. He developed prostate cancer, which is usually how Agent Orange manifests itself in veterans, and in turn it metastasized to his brain, to his bones, and into his blood. Honestly, even though I've been happily married for over 21 years and I have 5 lovely children, a part of me died 5 years ago when my father died. I said I felt like a part of me died 5 years ago, and I have since discovered that Agent Orange is slowly killing me. Now, due to mutations on the basic genetic building blocks of these soldiers, their children and their grandchildren are now affected by Agent Orange. The changes Agent Orange caused in these soldiers is now generational. It's intergenerational. I have always had weird health problems in my life. In fact, I was born dying. I had to be revived on the delivery room table because my lungs would not work. And I was hospitalized when I was less than 10 days old due to an unexplained fever that was raging in my body. And when I was 3, and this I do remember, I had to have a lumbar puncture because of an unexplained infection that appeared to be coming from my spinal fluid. It took my father, a nurse, 4 MPs to hold my tiny body down at Patterson Army Hospital so that my spine could be punctured to discover what was wrong with me. My whole life has been a medical struggle, and as I have aged, it has only gotten worse. I have had multiple miscarriages and very many difficult pregnancies. I have a degenerative joint and disc disease. I have GI issues, unexplained anemia that we cannot cure, autoimmune diseases, a weak immune system, teeth that die for no apparent reason, even though I do everything the dentist tells me to do. I have webbed toes, can't see them, they're covered, and the list goes on and on. I have illnesses that stop my doctors, and my whole body is aging rapidly. I had a ticking time bomb going off in me, and it started going off about 8 years ago. I have been told that I have a body of somebody in their 70s. I just turned 46 years old. What does the government recognize? Currently, the U.S. government acknowledges 18 birth defects in the children of female Vietnam veterans and only 1 birth defect in children of male Vietnam veterans, which is spina bifida, not occulta, which is the most common. Remember, 6,000 to 8,000 women served while 2.8 million men served. And we wonder, why is this? It's money. The government doesn't want to have to take care of the mess that they created with Monsanto in infecting the soldiers who in turn sickened their children. I am a daughter. I am a proud daughter and by an affected Vietnam veteran. I now speak of Vietnam, Agent Orange, dioxin, and how we must hold Monsanto accountable. I'm tired. I'm angry. I'm sick. I'm 46 years old. I'm fighting a war every day that to most ended decades ago. Long after the protest, the ignorance, the boots on the ground, the clearing of the jungles have ended. We are still fighting the Vietnam War right here in front of you, what you're seeing. Agent Orange is a chemical war that never ended. And I want to go over the group that I represent. You see us in orange. I'm with the group COVVHA. I want to read their mission statement. Quote, "We are committed to serving as a voice for the children of Vietnam veterans, including second and third generation victims of Agent Orange and dioxin exposures worldwide. We believe in empowering each other to hold the companies and governments responsible for causing so much devastation and suffering to our generations. We will fight for justice globally." That is our mission statement. Why was COVVHA created? Well, simply put, it was to let other children of Vietnam veterans to know that they are not alone. And we have grown to a membership of over 1,100 people in less than 18 months. Prior to finding COVVHA, I never met another child of a Vietnam veteran. It was as if I belonged to a secret club. I knew growing up that I could not be the only one. I knew I was not Tigger, yet I remained silent and alone. COVVHA is a safe, non-judgmental place where friendships have blossomed and education has grown. Through COVVHA, I have found brothers and sisters I have waited my whole life to meet. Due to continued hostility after moving to California, I did not mention Vietnam ever again. My father was transferred from Fort Monmouth, New Jersey to Fort Ord, California. When we moved, we were instructed to never bring up Vietnam, to keep it quiet, because it was just something that could not be talked about. And so I went silent, I was silent. Vietnam cast a long shadow over myself and the home I grew up in. I knew I could not mention my helicopter pilot father. In many ways, my father was a man without a past, and I, as his child, I had huge holes in my past. The members of COVVHA, we swap our own war stories, and we share experiences that are unique to us, a child of an unpopular war, a war that was made even worse by Monsanto and Agent Orange. We discovered our fathers were not so weird when they would tackle us and cover us when they heard a car backfire. They thought they were under attack and we were being attacked, and so they would protect us. Or that while our families were very patriotic, we did not attend 4th of July celebrations because of the noise of the fireworks, the firecrackers. Instead, we frequently had subdued barbecues at home, away from the celebrations. I remember our family being accused of not being patriotic for not attending such celebrations. As a child and as a young adult, I had to remain silent and ignore such ignorant comments. It has been a delight in finding others in COVVHA who experience the same colorful background as myself. It has also been very helpful as members of COVVHA that we gather, correlate, and share information about the many afflictions we have in common. And here's where I'm going to blow your minds. We have compiled a list of over 796 different illnesses or afflictions because of Agent Orange. The government doesn't recognize any of them. Did you hear this? 796 illnesses and afflictions. Kelly Derricks and Heather Bowser, who are back east right now, are speaking at rallies. They are the ones who founded this group. This group is just so awesome. We have found each other. We share membership, and there are common threads between all of us. Some of the things we all have in common, insofar as illness-wise from Agent Orange, are GI problems, back and nerve issues, dental issues, autoimmune disorders, and others. Our third generation, our children. Many of these children have reported illnesses such as autism, deafness, severe skin problems where skin just breaks open and cracks and you can't fix it and they bleed. This comes from the dioxin in Agent Orange has made them sick. COVVH pursues justice for those who are affected and is a voice for the voiceless, whether that person is a child of an American soldier, an Australian soldier, or a child who is Vietnamese. There are many people in the US and around the world who are suffering from exposure to Agent Orange, either directly or as a descendant of someone who was. There are also soldiers who served during the Vietnam War who were not actually over in the war. They were here in the States, and they themselves were poisoned by Agent Orange. Some have double exposure poisoning, and they are sick as well. COVVH provides a voice for these people and teaching them how to find their own voices. Kelly and Heather have helped me find my voice. As people discover COVVHA and our mission, they become informed and educated. It starts with the family members. This is what is happening to me, and then it gets bigger, and eventually these people become active in educating larger amounts of people. Doctors, dentists, neighbors, strangers, marches and rallies such as what we're at right here today in Salt Lake City. The more people to find out about the effects of Agent Orange, both short and long term, the more progress will be made toward helping those who suffer from this deadly legacy. One of the jokes we kind of say, Agent Orange is the gift that keeps on giving. We have a COVV webpage, and I'm just going to briefly wrap up to tell you some things that we have. We have educational materials. We have research. Kelly puts in long, long hours doing research. Heather writes lots of articles from the research that Kelly gathers. We have written materials over there on the information table with the other groups that are here. We have a doctor's note that anybody who has been afflicted can take to identify themselves as a child who's been exposed because of their father. We also have an information flyer over there that explains our organization. We also talk about pending legislation, so we help bring people understanding of what's happening in our government and in laws that could be coming up to get involved. And that's what we need to do. I'm so excited to see people here. We need to become involved. My story is about Vietnam in the past, but it's 2013, and in 2013, we all need to come together and we need to work together to bring to justice the injustice that Monsanto afflicted upon all of us. Thank you so much for being here today. God bless you all.